Welcome to Postgame Podcast. I'm your host, June. I got my boy B Foster. Before we get into this show, I want to remind everyone to please subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube and also follow us on the podcast aggregators for your audio fixes. That's Bleachers to Speakers. Oh, I'm tripping. Postgame Podcast. That's what you're going to follow on the podcast aggregators. Postgame podcast FFF's in your search. Make sure you download the episodes. Make sure that notification bell on so when we drop content, you'll get an alert. Foster, we got a dub today versus the number 2 team in the West. Rockets number 2, right?
Yes, they were at least at the beginning of the game. But yeah, we'll call it number 2. That sounds good to me.
Well, much needed victory. Much needed victory. What was it? Were we on a 2-game skid?
I believe so. The Suns and I know
Indiana?
Indiana.
Yeah. Suns and Indiana were 2 losses, 2 tough losses. I think Indiana had a bigger lead than Phoenix, but we very well should have won that, could have won that Phoenix game for sure. But yeah, we got a win today, and it looked good early, and then it didn't look so good in the second quarter. Pistons built up a 15-point lead in the first half and wound up the score being tied 57-57 at half. And the crazy thing is the Pistons scored 40 in the first quarter.
Got out to a good start for sure.
Got out to a very good start, had a very sluggish second quarter, and then after half, that man turned up. Cade I see him hit a 3. Then I see him hit another 3. Then he got a 2. Then it was like how many did he wind up getting in the third? They said the number. I
don't know as far as the total, but I don't know how much he had in just the third quarter, but he ended up with 32.
Yeah. He had a bunch of points in the third. Like that, the third quarter was his
from the beginning of it.
Yes, he set the tone early, and he just kept scoring. And then the cherry on top, he hit a buzzer beater to end the quarter in the third, put him up 90-80. And the Pistons, I think they cut the lead maybe down to 8 in the fourth, but that's about it. That's as close as they got. And the Rockets played all the way into 30 seconds left in the game. They were down double digits and were still fouling and playing pressure on the ball. And it's like, bro, it's over. It's not a playoff game. It's over. If you're down 10 with 40 seconds left, let it go.
That's a game that they probably didn't want to lose. I think they said that we hadn't beat the Rockets in 8 straight games or something crazy like that.
Well, we were due. We were overdue. So
you got the 2 twins. They got their little rivalry, Cade and Jalen Green. There was kind of a lot at stake, but
how many did Jalen Green wound up with?
Let's see here.
I like Jalen Green.
19.
Yeah, he was pretty consistent. I think it was just who I was worried about is the Sagoon guy.
Yeah.
How many did he wind up with?
11.
Okay, he was under wraps. Duran had a hell of a first half. I don't know what he wound up with, but he had 14 and 8 at the half. And I was like, Duran is very active, and he hit more than dunks. He had a couple of shots in the key, and it was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about.
This is the Duran we need to see consistently. Not only was he scoring and getting rebounds, because he had 14 to go along with that. He made a couple nice passes that I was impressed with, which we've seen a little bit, but yeah, out the gate, because we were watching the game. We were talking, watching the beginning of the game, and he was cooking early.
Yeah, he was cooking early.
Kind of slowed down, to be honest.
And he had 2 steals in the first half. He had 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals. And I was like, whoa. This is a good game for him. If you stopped here and look at the stat sheet and said Duran got 14 and 8, you're kind of like, okay,
I'll take that. Maybe.
And what was
Maybe.
his final stats?
16 and 14. Yeah, 16 points and 14 rebounds. You said he had 3 assists, and then you said he had 2 steals.
He had 2 steals. He had that in the first half. So the scoring ultimately slowed down in the second half, but the rebounding was there. So, and the last time I remember the Pistons playing the Rockets, the Sagoon guy looked like an all-star versus Duran. He was scoring at will, and it was embarrassing. Like as far as
and he made him look bad one time where he we know that Duran is a drop big. He's not somebody that you want guarding athletic guys at the top of the key, and he was able to get past him, and it, Duran kind of took a bad foul on an and-1. So that's just one thing that you deal with Duran. But if he can get some blocks and clean up, because he cleaned up a couple, putbacks and had some alley-oops. That's what you want from him ultimately.
Yeah. And then Beasley is a good supporting cast. I mean, I think he wound up with 17 off the bench. And then I want to know Hardaway's numbers.
Hardaway had 10.
Yeah, he hit a couple of key shots, but he wasn't consistent. But I'll take him. Foster, it's evident from this game, and you mentioned it to me while we were texting. Like we need another creator that can handle the ball without turning it over. We need another starter at that position, because that play I pointed out to you, I was so frustrated.
I'm glad. Yeah, I know exactly, because I would have been like, really? But I was watching, and I'm like, why? Let's break it down. So Tim Hardaway, we know Tim Hardaway is not the best ball handler. He is a movement shooter. He's a guy that, he can get downhill sometimes, but he's not the guy that you want bringing the ball up the court or controlling the ball around midcourt. And so what he was, anytime you got to pick up your dribble around the midcourt line, somebody's got you bottled up.
You're in trouble.
So of course you're like, okay, let's find the one other guy on the team that can handle the ball, as opposed to Cade, because there's space for Cade to go and get it.
Yes,
he's locked step. He's in cement, trying to in post position
at the free throw line.
With the guy on his back, as if he's as if he's out the elbow or on the block. He's holding in post position, like, pass me the ball. And Hardaway, I don't know if he was talking, but if words could be spoken, come get the ball. I can't move. And we know the Rockets have about 5 guys, a gluttony of 3-and-D wings that are 6'8" with 7-foot wingspans. He could not get that ball out.
No way.
He did get the ball out, I think.
I don't know what happened, but I know
he ended up just kind of throwing it. And because Cade did have the guy so sealed, I think Cade did get the ball, but he just didn't. It was almost like Cade was mad at him for getting locked up like that, and said, well, just get it to me, because I'm not coming to get it.
I yelled at the TV, like, go get the ball.
It was weird, bro.
Somebody.
Because I think I said the same thing. I was like, what are you doing?
If you want to point at K, cool, but nobody went and got the ball. After you pick up your dribble, you can't stand there and wait for a pass. Go get the ball.
It was weird. It was really weird. I've seen it happen at lower levels where it's almost like everybody's scared. Like, they're so rattled. They're just like, well, you get it. You get it. You get it. But it was weird that Cade, and I don't know what it, I mean, it doesn't matter. Was that the first half? That was before.
That was second half. Well, hold on.
I think it was at the end of the first.
That was the first half.
Because he turned all the way up in the second half. And I was watching, because I was streaming. I was watching a Rockets telecast, and they were in amazement of Cade. Like, they were glazing them. I ain't gonna lie. It was kind of nice. It was kind of nice to hear. But Yeah, that play was odd.
Yeah, that was in the first half because I remember the direction they were going as far as where their basket was, and it was
Right.
like,
It was going that.
yeah, and I'm like, bro, go get the ball. Like it's
And we
not
were kind
that
of folding at that point because that
yeah,
was where I think they would have liked for Sasser to play a little bit more, but because the run, because at that point I was waiting for Bickerstaff to make some type of adjustment, call a timeout, do something, and all he basically just ended up doing was bringing Cade in the game because we do not have another Sasser. You know, we talked about it in the summertime about how, you know, he's going to need to step up as a playmaker because we don't really have a backup. At the time, we were thinking we don't have a backup point guard because, you know, Ivy was the number 2. And, you know, we didn't know Beasley was going to be, you know, basically a player that was going to play starter minutes. But yeah, we don't have another point guard that is reliable enough to run the show. You know, Sasser gets those minutes and sometimes he plays well. I think he had like 10, 11 points today, but the offense just doesn't flow. You don't have anybody that can really break down the offense and create opportunities. And it's evident. Like,
yeah, it's
and we had 2 different times in the game where we had 15 to 20 plus leads. So the Rockets, the only reason why the Rockets had a chance is because we turned the ball over a million times. I think we ended up. Cade had 10 turnovers today.
Yeah, he had some
He had 6 in the first half, though.
Yeah, very, very bad passes in that first half.
And Asar was the other one. Asar was, I feel like he was pressing a little bit. I feel like Amen was balling. He looks a good couple notches above Asar right now, and I think part of it has to do with just what I think that some of it has to do with coaching or just the fact that he's had a better situation around him. So he's been
I think it has a lot to do with that part.
Yeah.
Practicing with who he practices with, and gotta mention, Asar was out for a little while because of the blood clot. So he couldn't do a lot of things. How many did Amin and Asar wind up with?
Okay, so Asar had 11 and 9, 11 points and 9 rebounds.
Very respectable.
In 1 block. He played, how many minutes he played? He played 22 minutes. And then Amin had 17, 6, 5, and 3. Whew.
Yeah. He's just stuffing the stat sheet across the board.
Yeah. He looked good. I saw him in pick and roll opportunities. A lot of it, I'm telling you, not
Now we didn't pick the wrong one. We picked who was available. Amin went first. So
right. So it was already known that Amin had a little edge as far as skill wise. I think he's got a better handle. I think he's
they said he was a better shooter, better scorer.
So we didn't see I didn't see the shooting today, but he was just very active in transition.
He was above the rim a lot. A lot of dunks, a lot of lobs, a couple of lobs, and it was like this guy understands. He understands the game because there was a lob he got from the center, where the center was kind of like bottled up in the post, and he just flipped it up to him, and Amin came out of nowhere, and boom! It's like wow.
And he played a full year last year, and he didn't miss the first 20 games, you know, of this year, to put it in perspective. But honestly, if you take away the points off turnovers, the Rockets had nothing.
No.
They shot, I want to say they shot 28% from 3. They had opportunities. Van Vliet, I don't know how many he took, but he took a ton of threes, and they shot 39% from the field.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of dunks. So for you to shoot 39% from the field, and you had all those alley-oops and layups off turnovers, they had nothing coming shooting wise. So
let's take a quick break, Foss. And when I get back, I want to tell you who really, really makes me mad. We're back, and I want to remind everyone again to subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. Make sure we're trying to get those subscribers up to 300. We're on a mission to get to 300. We're at 219. Share, like, subscribe, do all that. Comment, you know what I'm saying? Keep us in the algorithm or get us in the algorithm, whatever it is. But you know who makes me mad, Foss? It's a couple people, but this guy just Brooks, man. He didn't do anything. It's just certain things he does, and it's like, bro, he just I don't know if he did anything wrong. I just saw him out there and he did something. I think it was a foul or something, and he can't do any right by me.
He's got a punchable face. I mean, we don't condone violence over here on the Postgame podcast, but I understand because it's what's funny is this would have been because the fun game I like to play is who is Isaiah Stewart gonna get into it with? Because it's always somebody. It would have been him. Now I didn't watch. Now I missed part of the game. Did they have any brush ups?
I don't think so.
I don't think they had any brush ups.
I don't think so.
Isaiah Stewart played. He played it cool. He's hilarious. To watch him play, like that's a game in itself because he doesn't take any, like, you get too close to the bench in between timeouts, he on you. You know, I think he in between the free throws when it goes back to the referee, like he tried to grab the ball and like it's always he's playing his role. It's on purpose for sure, but you just because he's now become a figure of the NBA. People hate him outside of the Pistons world, and I love it, which is one of the reasons why I really want him to be a lifelong Piston. For one, I don't want to. He would really raise hell.
You need him
if you let him out of Detroit, and he came back to Detroit, and came back to play Detroit.
Yeah, you need an enforcer. You do, and he's that guy. He's that guy that's gonna, you're not gonna talk crazy. You're not gonna bully none of my guys. No, and then he hustles. You can say what you want about his persona, but he gives his effort is on 100 every game. Every game he's trying. And I'm gonna tell you something else, Foster. This guy, no matter how horrific that shot looks, Holland is not scared to shoot it. He is going to give
one down today.
He knocked the three down early, but he shot a three that looked so bad later on in the game, and it was like, bless his heart. He just, oh my gosh, the shot is just. But like I was taught when I played, not shooting messes the team up more than a missed shot. Fire it up. My coach said, fire it up. If you open, fire it up. Don't be a complete zero threat out there. You know what I'm saying? Long as you can get a shot up, there's, with you not shooting it, you're not a threat at all. So Holland, and then when he went down, Foster, I got scared.
I know. I said, because you made me worried. I'm like, bro, he just looked like a little rolled ankle.
Now, what happened was it was a bump. He bumped knees.
Right.
But his knee looked like it went a crazy way. But the thing about it is, what I knew he was going to be okay is that he kept trying to play. He actually was reaching for the rebound, because I think it was Stewart that had the ball, got the rebound. He's reaching for it, and he's still limping. So he got past half court, and he just couldn't take it no more. And then when I saw what they were doing, they like sprayed it with something, and they were rubbing his knee. I said, no, that's not nothing serious. That's a bruise or something, because now that they're treating it, you know what I'm saying? Joey Linwood is in the building. What's the word, Joey?
What's the word?
Pistons won, Joey. That's the word. And I'm going to give you a fair warning now, sir. You're from Detroit. There will be no Piston slander. I will not post it on my board. So you say what you want there, Joey. But anyway, Joey's a Lakers fan, by the way. He's a Lakers fan. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
But yeah, Stu. He had some good minutes against Sengun.
Mhm.
He gave him all he could handle.
Yeah,
that's because Duran is Duran, but Stewart has become it's become a constant in certain instances, and defensively against interior scorers, that's where he thrives.
Yeah. Joey says, shout out to the Pistons, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. Give us some props, man. You from here. You know what? It's a lot of people, and I know this, Foster. I know this is off topic, but we're gonna get back to this line. We're gonna get back to this Pistons Rockets game. But there's a lot of people around here that I know that are Lakers fans that hate Detroit because of 2004. It was 20 years ago. Let it go.
Man.
Let it go, man. Y'all have won championships since then. Let it go, man. There's no reason to be bitter towards Detroit. This is your home. I'm not saying you got to join rooting for the Pistons. Just stop all that. Don't hate the Pistons, man. You live here. Come on. Anyway, back to today's game. Outside of that, that third quarter proved to be the turning point in the game. Going into half 57-57. The end of the third quarter, I think the score was 90-80, if I'm correct. It was 90-80. They pushed the lead up to 10, and the Pistons, I think they cut the lead down to 8 at one point in the fourth, but that's as close as they got. And I think most of the damage done by Cade was in that third quarter. I think he was relatively quiet in the fourth. What was the final score?
Final score was 107-96.
107-96. So they only scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. So it wasn't a lot of scoring. It wasn't a lot of scoring in the fourth quarter. I don't think Cade had that many in the fourth. I don't know where most of the points came from. Might have been from Beasley and Sasser. Don't quote me on that. But I know there was not a lot of points scored from Cade in that fourth quarter, but they maintained the lead and got another. And this is the first game of a 5-game away trip. So they won't be in, they had a couple
some tough games on here too. I tell you what.
Now rattle them off. Who's next? Who's the next 4 games?
All right, so we got the Atlanta Hawks on Wednesday.
That's always a tough game. In Atlanta, that's a tough game.
In Atlanta, we got Orlando Magic. Paolo Banchero is back.
Yeah, that's always a tough game for us. Orlando is.
Cavaliers on Monday.
Yeah.
Hey, need I say more?
You can say the other ones.
And then to close it out, because we already played one. So the fourth game that's remaining is against the Pacers. That's a tough one.
You know what? That is
going to be spicy.
That rivalry that we once had. You heard what Bickerstaff said after the game. They wasn't all that when we was whooping they in Indiana. So I hope they keep this same energy.
It's gonna be a goodie.
It's gonna be a good game.
So wait,
that's a win too.
Right, and that'll be a week before the trade deadline too. That'll be January 29th.
Do you expect anything to happen? And I'm gonna tell you my answer too. Do you expect anything to happen?
I don't think they're going to break up the chemistry and mortgage the future with something major, but I do think they are going to do something. I think that we are seeing in the last 3 games, even this game today, I think we're seeing a glaring, a need that is just jumping off the page. We need a guard. It'd be nice to have somebody that could take care of the ball too. That's just a plus, but we need a guard that can create, go get his own bucket, break the defense down. That we need that bad. We just don't have that. Sasser, I like Sasser. Sasser does some things. He's a good outside. He's a good outside shooter. I think that if he was playing off ball, I think the way that Isaiah Stewart has been able to find his niche and really play his role, I think that the same could be done for Sasser as well. But he's forced to create, and that's just not him. It'll never be him. I don't care if he is 6 foot, 180 pounds. He's not a point guard.
No.
And sadly, we may end up giving up a player like Sasser to find that guy, but it's necessary at this point. We have the shooters. We have the Hardaways, the Beasleys. We have enough guys. Well, you can never have enough guys that can hit the three, but we still need somebody outside of Cade that can create opportunities for them. Beasley is a good scorer. He's shown the potential to actually create for himself, hit that little mid-range floater and all that. But you don't want to lean on that. You want to have somebody that can go out there and get a bucket with Cade on the floor or without, or when Cade is sitting down. He can't play the whole game. So
very glaring weakness when they press the ball. When they're pressuring Cade and pressuring who's ever the Pistons have issues. So that goes with what you're saying. And another thing is my take on what's going to – I don't think the Pistons make a move at all.
You don't think you think they sit put completely?
I think they sit put. I do not agree. I'm just saying I don't see anything happen. I just don't.
Even if they're eating a contract, you don't think that, because we literally have cap space that's just literally sitting around. I mean, that was the whole point of the Paul Reed situation, was to create room.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with any of that. I understand all of that. I just don't see anything happening.
Why do you feel that way?
Well, because of the names that were mentioned that have been floating around. Usually, if it has any kind of legs, it walks. And the names that I've heard are stuff that's just way, way far-fetched. It's not that I don't think it's going to happen. And what we need, it's not going to be out there. Just my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't see anything happening. Now, should they stand put? No. Should they make a move? Yes. I just don't think it's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. I don't see like I said, I don't see the big move happening. I think there's too much
and
risk.
That's what I'm talking about. Maybe I should change what I'm saying. I don't see anything really of significance happen, like a big move. I don't see that. Now, they could possibly pick up someone, but I don't think it'll be anything that'll change the trajectory of what's going on, what we have right now. Troy taps in and says, Cade is one of the best players in the league. You have no argument from me, sir. I definitely agree. If you watch that third quarter, you'll see what he's very well capable of. That third quarter was his, and you had good players on that side of the ball, and Cade on the court as a whole, both teams, and Cade was definitely the best player on the court when he was on there in that third, for sure. It wasn't close.
Another move I can see us making to get a little bit better is bringing in a 3-and-D wing guy. We got the wing part down, the D part as far as wing is concerned, but obviously Holland and Asar haven't.
They have their limitations offensively.
And the one player that we thought we were going to be able to lean on, like I would have put good money that we could have leaned on him, is Fontecchio. And
he just disappeared.
And they play him and they continue. They really want him to work. But he's another guy that, like, if that three's not falling, there's nothing.
Yeah. You know who else makes me mad, Foster?
What's that?
Cam Whitmore.
And what's most frustrating is that the Rockets have like 3 guys that do that.
He should have been a Piston, bro.
Wait, who did we draft?
I don't remember who we drafted, but
we drafted Asar, bro. Chill.
I wanted Cam Whitmore.
I think we could have got him over Sasser, though, maybe.
Yeah, I wanted Cam Whitmore. I mean, that whenever he scores, especially against us, it's like, that should have been here. He should have been here.
10 points a game. Yeah. We could find minutes for him.
Yeah, but he's hitting his outside shot too.
That's what I'm crazy. Yeah.
And he has this athleticism to him. Pardon me. And yeah. So Troy says it's just too easy for him in regards to Cade. And he also says Tech can't play a lick of defense.
He tries, but it's just like if he could hit his 3, I could look past the defense, but he's not hitting his 3. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, angry MSU Detroit fan says staying over 500. Hey, MSU Detroit fan, we gotta quit being angry, man. I get it. I get it. I'll sit here.
Oh, we have more to be angry about now. We'll get to that on Wednesday.
We'll get to that on Wednesday. It'll be let's just say we do a joint show on Wednesdays with the NFC North Division, and we have a Minnesota Vikings representative and a Chicago Bears representative, and the Chicago Bears representative is very, very happy. I know he's adamant right now about what the addition that they got today. And I won't get into that because we're talking Pistons. We're not talking Lions. But make sure you tune in, subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube, and that'll be a Bleachers to Speakers show, which is our football show. If you this is your first time watching or listening, but yeah. I'm trying to get away from this angry MSU Detroit fan, but this is what he says for us. Ben Johnson leaving don't help. Okay, I will say this. We knew Ben Johnson was leaving. Okay.
We thought we had got him to Vegas, though. That's the kicker.
Angry MSU Detroit fan says Aaron Glenn goes to the Jets. I won't care, but Ben Johnson going to Chicago. Yeah. I mean, he said Pistons talk. This win is definitely huge for the Pistons, especially on the road. And then it's the first of 5. So if we can get out of this road game trip, win 3 out of 5, I'll be very, very happy. But I said that before, and they won 4 out of 5. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the last time we said that, we outdid ourselves.
Troy says, I don't know who I would even want. Maybe Butler, Ingram, or McCollum. And this is what I'm talking about, Troy. I don't think they'll make any moves because they would have to move a lot of parts to get Ingram, right?
I'm pretty much over Ingram just because he's an expiring deal. If you're not going to sign him, it's pointless, and he's injury prone. How many more games is he really good for the rest of the year?
Yeah, Butler would be a good addition. I had, reservations about it, but he would be a good addition. However, you'd have to give a lot up to get him. McCollum,
I like McCollum.
I just don't know if they're going to go get him. Just don't know. That would be a good addition. Troy said, I like our team. I don't really want to bench anyone. He also says Beasley is playing so good this year. Absolutely. Angry MSU Detroit fan says if the Pistons can have some success road trip like they did last month, that'll be great. Yeah, we talked about that We talked about that when no. I want that to happen, angry MSU Detroit fan, but that's not happening. He's saying Devin Booker. That would be wonderful. Hey, do what you got to do to get him, keep Cade. I don't care at that point.
That's an off-season move. I don't see us going all in the middle of the year.
That's not happening.
Pretty much anybody but Cade, and let's make that happen. Asar, Holland, both of them.
Yeah.
He's that good.
He's that good. So if you and just imagine if you had Cade and Devin Booker in your backcourt.
Ooh. Talking about another guard to create and go get a bucket. Good night.
We talking about, and then what they do is now what they do, and they're starting to do that. They pressure Cade, and then they double him.
Mm-hmm.
They double him, and they want him to go to one side of the court, and they double him. They try to trap him, and everybody else is just like, well, Cade, do something. We had somebody out there that's, say, okay, get it to me. Or, Cade ain't got to bring the ball up every trip. Bring it here. You know what I'm saying? Angry MSU Detroit fan says, well, who was untouchable for a trade deal? Cade.
Yeah, just Cade in a Booker type situation.
Anybody else can, for Booker, Cade is the only one you don't move.
You can have our pick next year too, even though if we make the playoffs, it goes to the Knicks. Or if we make the playoffs, it goes to the Knicks.
Yeah. Troy says teams are so scared of Cade now, it's funny. Yeah. Angry MSU Detroit fan says, I would be open to trade Tobias, but we're going to throw in a pick or two for that to happen. Hey, whatever it takes outside of Cade to make it happen, I don't care.
Tobias had 4 points today. Good night.
You definitely.
In 34 minutes, that's that good cardio. He didn't even get a whole bunch of. He only had 4 rebounds.
Drive Tobias to Phoenix.
To Phoenix, that's a long drive.
If that's the trade that's going to happen, I will make sure he gets there first class. I would make sure he gets to the facility on time. For Devin Booker, yes. Shout out to Tobias Harris. I like Tobias Harris, but for Devin Booker, I will make sure he has a safe trip to Phoenix. It just is what it is. No shade to Tobias. I mean, he didn't have a good game. But I do notice when Tobias has a good game, the Pistons are really, really tough to beat. Really tough. And we're fortunate today to need him because we won. We beat a good Houston team, and he only had 4 points. And so, and it is what it is. Foster, you ready to put a ball in this, or you got more to talk about?
Nah, big win today to start the road trip against a team, a very formidable opponent. Hold on, let me pull up the standings real quick. I want to say so they're number 2. Dang, the Thunder are just
running away with it.
Yeah, head and shoulders above. They're 7 games up on the Rockets.
7 games in front of the number 2 team.
We talked about this. The West is very shaky this year. Anytime the Rockets are number 2, like that's kind of wild. But yes,
but 7 games in number 2.
They're 35-7. They still have single digits. In the same way that Cleveland has single digits losses, 35-6. The Cleveland is so. We needed this. We needed this road trip. I mean, we needed this win to start the road trip because it's going to be a tough one. We got some tough games.
And what's the Pistons' overall record right now?
We are 1 game up, 500 over 500. We are 22-21.
Okay.
Yep. We are 12-10 on the road. We are a tough road team. We are 7-3 out of our last 10, so we are still on the up and up as far as that's concerned. But this is I think these next. I think however we play out. I'll read this. OKC is what I hope the Pistons to become when we hire Troy. That's where he came from, right?
He came from OKC, and I had high hopes too. For them when Troy got here. I just knew Troy was out of here when he was cussing out a fan.
Angry. Oh yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, it was dark. It was darker on that time. He says, I'm saying in general, any trade, who would you be untouchable trade? I think it depends, but not to get off subject, but yeah, I think it depends. I think Asar is a player that can still has a potential just off of his athletic ability, and he does have some basketball IQ. I just think that he still needs to get more acclimated. But he is redundant with a Ron Holland, so I feel like you don't necessarily need both. Although you can never have enough 3-and-D wings. You see what it's doing for the Rockets. I think that Duren is definitely as good as he played today. He's still not untouchable. I still think
I don't want to. Oh gosh,
I still think that Ivy. It's weird to talk about at this point, but I still think that there is a market for Ivy. Stewart, I would like to think is untouchable, but that's more on a culture mentality part of it, more so than obviously his the statistics. Angry MSU Detroit fan says, if we can win against Atlanta or Orlando, I'll be happy for the road trip. Doesn't matter what happens in Cleveland. Yeah, I feel that. I want that Indiana game though. I want that Indiana game. But yeah, Atlanta and Orlando, if we can beat them, I think Orlando, they're a good team. They're a good team. They actually fare very well without both Wagner's and Banchero. So I'm impressed with how they play. But I think that we can beat them if we can stop Banchero. I think we'll be in a good way. I think I watched them. That's the game that Ivy got hurt was the Orlando game.
Yeah.
So we've already beat them.
That was without Banchero and without the other guy, Wagner.
Yeah.
Without both Wagners.
Well, yeah. So yeah, they were pretty shorthanded in that game, but I think that this road trip coming up is big. I think that this is going to be a heavily, like I said, it's only a week. Once we're done with the road trip, that'll only be a week until the trade deadline. And I think they're going to pay a lot of attention to needs that we have, because I don't think they're going to, fold up the chairs and say, hey, next year when we get Ivy back, we'll try it again. I think that they know that this team is capable of making a run. We just need a piece, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love for Fontecchio to wake up and for us to have another outside shooter that's all on the taller side. I mean, I guess he's kind of the same height as Beasley, and
yeah,
we need one more shooter though, because off the bench, I mean, Hardaway is a starter. He's not losing his spot, and Ivy's gone. Ivy was a shooter, so we need one more shooter to step up. And I don't think that we have. I don't think that we have that, and we need somebody that can create.
With that being said, if you pick up McCollum right now, and without having to give up a lot, you could very well make a good little run.
Oh yeah, I mean he's averaging 20 points this year, and he's dropped 50 this year too.
Yeah, he's always been one of those guys that could shoot it, and he can handle the ball too. So,
and he's played with Dame, so he's made things happen with a very ball dominant player, and he can play the point guard, he can play the two. Yeah, you can play the point guard, you can play the two.
That's what we need. Angry MSU Detroit fan says, I want Sasser to be that guy. I think what you're seeing out of Sasser is just about what you're going to get, someone who can come in off the bench, hit some shots, spell your point guard. But I think that's about it. I think his ceiling is just being a guy that can keep the ship afloat when you're giving your guys a rest and hit some shots for you as well.
And when you look at his numbers, granted, he's only playing 14 minutes a game, 48% from the field and 39% from three. Not bad numbers.
Yeah.
If he was a shooting guard, but he has to play point guard.
Yeah.
Those are great. Those are great shooting numbers, but he's statistics don't show the flow of the offense when he's running it. It doesn't show that.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think you that's what we're saying is what we're gonna get out of Sasser. That's it. I mean, maybe he's a trade bait as well.
I could see a team liking Sasser because he can knock it down from range.
Yeah.
We probably should have been more intentional in getting a point. I mean, we've been talking about getting a point guard in here since Summer League.
Yeah.
And of course, Ivy threw a major wrench in that because Ivy essentially could be your point guard not off the bench, but in staggered minutes without Cade. But we don't have that to work off of. So
no. Well, it is what it is, man. When is the next game?
Wednesday against Atlanta, I believe. Yes.
It's very possible you will see us back here tonight for a Central Division show. It's very possible we could do it. Don't know how it's going to pan out with the NCAA football national title game tonight. I'm probably going to decline Foss. We're probably going to step to the side tonight. But that's the reason why we're doing the show now. We wanted to make sure we keep up with our Pistons shows and this, that, and other. You'll see another Pistons show on Thursday. The Pistons have a game on Wednesday. So you'll see another show on Thursday from us. And we'll talk more Pistons then. Until then, make sure you're subscribing to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube so you can catch this show and catch other things that we're doing. I uploaded a old school featured player of the week inspired by Foster's featured player of the week that he does. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go subscribe to the channel. It's a lot of stuff on there. We have done featured player profiles on there. There's going to be a lot of the featured player profiles to be put on there. With the Lions being in an off season right now, we're going to do free agency, possible free agent targets, draft prospects, and just people of interest who we think would be a good fit. Excuse me for coughing in the mic. I usually hit mute. But people that we feel that can be in the mix to be acquired by the Detroit Lions and the Pistons. So we'll keep doing those. But make sure you subscribe to that channel. Angry MSU Detroit fan says Antoine Randall L for offensive coordinator. We mentioned that before, Foss, and that probably is could be a reality. Could be a reality. Before we get out of here, I'm gonna say it one more time. Make sure you subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube.